Okay, welcome to the True Potential Monthly Performance Monitor for June. So my name's Chris Leyland. I'm the Deputy Chief Investment Officer here at True Potential. Okay, so I'm going to start off by analysing the market returns, and I think overall what you can see is we've actually seen some quite positive gains during May, and that's on the back of quite a weak April. So if we look a little bit deeper at the returns, first one I'm going to look at is Japanese equities. So in local currency, you can see they've done very well. And that's on the back of continued economic stimulus. But also, actually, we've seen quite a sustained period of underperformance for Japanese equities. And now they're looking like good value to some investors. If we look at bonds, bonds have performed quite well during May, and that's on the back of a weak April. And lastly, if we look at currency, this might be a little bit of a surprise for some of the viewers in that sterling's actually appreciated against the euro, and that's against the backdrop of Brexit. So as we arrive closer to the European referendum on the 23rd of June, Brexit continues to dominate investor sentiment. So what we're seeing if we look at the opinion polls is actually the opinion polls are saying that they believe the UK is going to stay within the European Union. And now what we're seeing is investors are looking at how they should be positioning their portfolios if the UK stays in the European Union. Okay. The second issue that we're seeing is around US interest rates. So when will we see a US rate rise? Now, how much effect will that have on other asset classes, on all the asset classes as a whole? And how much of it is already priced in markets? So if we look at the performance of Asia and emerging markets, you can see that they've been very weak during May. Now, what happens with Asia and emerging markets is they borrow money in US dollars, and that means they have to service that debt, pay back that money in US dollars. Now, normally, when US interest rates rise, you'd see the US dollar strengthening. So that means that actually it becomes more expensive for these countries to service their debt. And obviously, this has had a big effect on returns for these areas. I think for a lot of investors, though, if they believe that these areas can withstand the rate rise, it offers up favourable opportunities to invest. Okay, so next, moving on to fixed interest, and global high yield bonds have become much more a feature within portfolios. What we've seen is investors are holding them for two reasons. So the first is obviously the yield. They're very high yielding. It's a way to boost income. But the second is actually, when you look at the pricing, they're looking very good value at the moment. So it can be a way to help boost return. So let's look forward now. And I think, investor sentiments, it's been completely dominated by two events. And they're both short-term events. And that's Brexit and the rise in the US interest rate. Actually, if we look out to the sort of medium term, to the longer term, investors are predicting that we'll see modest, positive economic growth. I think one thing that investors need to be aware of is don't put all your eggs into one basket. So, we're going to see returns from different asset classes, different geographical areas, and it's very important to use multi-asset investment, which is what the key area that we offer here at True Potential with our managed portfolio series.